Welcome to the HR Chat Show, one of the world's most downloaded and shared podcasts designed for HR pros, talent execs, tech enthusiasts, and business leaders. For hundreds more episodes and what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. I'm your host today, Bill Banham, and joining me on this episode is Jodi McPherson, co-founder and CEO over at Work Simplr. Jodi is an intuitive, dynamic, and versatile leader with over 25 years in the ed tech sector and talent sourcing space, architecting SaaS business models. As co-founder and CEO of Work Simplr, Jodi has built a new talent sourcing platform with students at the center for on-demand fractional paid work. Work Simplr was recently announced as a member of the ASU+GSV Elite 200 for 2022 and a Shark Tank finalist, for 2023. Jodi serves on several startup advisory boards, influencing strategic roadmaps for scalable solutions and bringing together purpose and profit for new solutions from ideation to market launch. Jodi serves as a mentor to young high school women and is an advocate of creating a culture of curiosity around compelling mission-driven goals while continually embracing new ideas and perspectives. She's an all-round awesome person, listeners. She also champions student athletes at Castleview High School as the CV Gudeian Booster President. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Hey, Jodi, how are you today?
I'm great, Bill. How are you?
I'm okay. I've just gotten through a whole series of Disrupt HR events and coming through the other side now, and I'm looking forward to this conversation with you today. Beyond my reintroduction there, Jodi, why don't you start by taking a minute or two and telling our listeners a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Jodi McPherson. I've spent most of my career in ed tech. I am based out of Denver. I have two children, 18 and 21, so right in the midst of figuring out their own career journeys and paths. And I'm excited to be here and share some of what we learned. A big part of my what I'm doing these days is trying to pay it forward and bring visibility to a changing landscape of career journeys and HR. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being my guest. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you straight off the bat here in 60 seconds or less. Let's get your elevator pitch then. Tell us about the mission of Work Simplr.
Yeah, Work Simplr is a platform designed to do more than matching students to work, but actually placing and monitoring them in short-term work. Most of the students today are gig economy natives. That is, they're used to multiple jobs and jobs that are 10, 20, 30 hours a week. So what we're doing is trying to tap into a latent talent pool of students who have skills and do a little bit more than match them with the business, actually help the business get the work done that they need to, avoiding scope and budget creep and the migraine headache that can come with trying to outsource or freelance if you're not familiar with it.
Wowza, I think you had about 4 seconds to spare. Good work, Jodi, good work. Okay, so how might early career knowledge work be impacted by recent shifts in AI capabilities? It doesn't seem like I can record an interview on the HR Chat Pod these days without talking about AI. So, we're talking here large language models and generative AI, of course. And also as part of that answer, Jodi, perhaps you can answer what work might become more or less important over the next few years.
Yeah, it's a really big topic everywhere I go. And I think the thing about AI that we find in our research is while there are infinite possibilities, there is a cost of running AI, and it's real. There are regulations associated with AI, and there's what people call hallucinations and the validity of what AI is generating. So it's not perfect, but it is here to stay. And I think one of the things that we look at with entry-level work is knowledge work, right? Knowledge work is around research, building presentations, organizing data, and that's pretty common theme regardless of the industry you're in. And we think that AI could have input and impact on that in several ways, right? There's the front end part of the process of feeding the AI. There's the back end of evaluating the output for quality and accuracy. And then there's the middle part of it, running through the AI. And those are going to become must-haves in the knowledge space for entry-level workers, because there's going to be a wide range of AI tools, and it will not replace the role, in our opinion, but it will change the way the role manages information and makes recommendations from a knowledge base at an entry-level role in any company.
Thanks for tuning in to the HR Chat podcast. If you're enjoying this episode, we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. And now, back to the conversation.
So, Jodi, directly before this call with you today, I had a call with a UK apprenticeships organization. Okay, they do wonderful work. I want to talk to you now a little bit about apprenticeships. How might what you just mentioned there impact the skills and experience needed for students to succeed in early career knowledge work, and in particular, how might that affect apprenticeships?
Well, I think apprenticeships are a great model because they're really tied to the industry to give students and people the skills needed to be successful. Where I think AI and knowledge efforts come into play is people are going to have to become almost more effective at problem framing than problem solving. And the reason we say that is our research shows that there's going to be a number of tools that vary per industry. So, for example, in the presentation industry, there's PowerPoint, Canva, and Google Slides. Largely, if you understand one or the other, you can pretty much get by in any of those three. And in the case of AI, particularly for entry-level work, and particularly across industries, the way AI will be leveraged will vary. So it'll be imperative that people are not just looking to solve problems, but also understand how to frame them so they can leverage the tools that they have at their disposal to solve them.
Fidello Inc. is a consulting firm specializing in improving human performance, and we're proud to support the HR Chat podcast. We help identify strategic competencies and behaviors that drive results. Our team offers an HR web software to manage systems, reports, and data for HR people that need the best insights to make the right decisions and achieve better results. Learn more at fidello.com.
Okay, very good, very good. So, considering the evolving landscape of early career knowledge due to work, knowledge work due to AI, how might educational institutions, Jodi, adapt their curricula to prepare students for jobs that involve collaboration with AI? What skills might become essential? You know, how are schools going to have to change up the way that they teach their kids so that they can get to grips with the fact that everything's going to be augmented and assisted on the go forward?
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways to think about it is AI is almost like a new user interface, right? You know, for students, and the students in schools today, they're going to know no different. In fact, it will be people our age that will have to backtrack to learn the new user interfaces around AI. And I think when you think about core skills that are going to be essential for successful use of AI, it's going to be writing from scratch, not just auto-generating, but writing from scratch, and an ability to refine auto-generated materials, an ability to frame problems. And I think in the curriculum that we have, these softer skills are often underrepresented in favor of the technical skills. And I think we're going to see a shift in curriculum around that, because students will know no different. My 18-year-old, as he progresses, UI is in his life from the very beginning. And with that in mind, AI as an interface, it just shifts the way we approach things. So I think it's on the softer side that curriculum will have to think through how to coach students, how to enable AI and use it for efficiencies, which is what it's one of the things it's intended to do, and also how to analyze the health and quality of AI outputs. You know, because if the output is not accurate or subject to different filters that companies are looking for, that refinement is going to make or break decisions for a company. So I think that's where you're going to see curriculums kind of stay on point, but then refine it. Just like ChatGPT, if a student's submitting an essay, they cannot just submit a ChatGPT essay. They have to go back and refine it. You see curriculums starting to lower word counts, which require students to refine what they have, which in and of itself is a skill, right? There's synthesis, analytics, refinement. So I think you'll see more of these minor but substantive changes as AI continues to fuel curriculum and jobs.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the HR Chat Show. IEA training provides professional development to a changing workforce with changing needs, and we're proud to support this episode of the HR Chat podcast. IEA offers lots of courses, webinars, and on-demand training to meet our students where they are and help them reach their goals. We're proud of our contribution to better risk analysis and high operating standards in the industry. Learn more at ieatraining.org. And now, back to the conversation.
Okay, well, let's talk more about jobs now, the world of work. What types of support might companies need to train, to improve, or monitor the quality of their AI systems? And as part of that, what role could student workers play?
There's going to be a lot under AI. I would say, if you look at AI and you consider different buckets of AI, there's what we call I would call prompt engineering, which is the front side of it. What input am I giving it to do something for me? Then I think there's the generation of insights, material, and whatnot. It could be running a diagnostic to figure out what the problem is and then identify how to solve it. But there's prompt engineering, there's generating insight, and then there's refinement, right? And so I think that companies who commit to training around that kind of thinking, and companies who commit to training beyond just the tool itself. So think about Excel as comparable. When Excel came out, it could do amazing things, but most people only use 10% of Microsoft Excel. It was really then the data analysts, the finances, the accounting specialists who began to leverage Excel for all it could do. And I think AI is going to travel a similar path where there's going to be entry-level users that have entry-level skills, and then the refinement is going to go to more senior level people. And so HR is going to have to become very agile in continuing training around that. So it's not just the tool, but it's about how to approach the tool to reach the company goals and get what's needed out of them.
The Association for Talent Development members and customers are professionals who help others achieve their full potential by improving their knowledge, skills, and abilities in the workplace. They go by many titles: talent development managers, trainers, instructional designers, performance consultants, frontline managers, workplace learning professionals, and more. ATD's members come from more than 120 countries and work in organizations of all sizes and in all industry sectors. Interested in learning more about membership and ATD events? Visit td.org.
Okay, we are flying through this conversation already, Jodi. Geez. Just a quick follow-up on that one, though. Considering the changing nature of early career knowledge work due to AI, how might mentorship programs need to evolve to provide more meaningful guidance to students and new professionals entering the workforce? And as part of that, what role can experienced mentors play in navigating this new landscape? I'm not sure how deep that guidance can be if it's older folks like me who don't really get AI as much as you pointed out earlier. The young people are just brought up with it.
Well, it's a great question, though, because if you think about, when I think about mentorship or the work that I do with high school students, a lot of mentorship is about experience. It's not about necessarily technical skills. It's about everything from empathy to communication to how to think about a challenge, right? To get people to take different points of view and perspective. It's to me as much about personal growth and professional growth as it is about connections within the industry. And I actually think mentorship in conjunction with a curriculum is really healthy, because mentorship allows you to have not necessarily be tied to the technical skills, but develop the way people think about things, the way they frame them. That to me will be the secret sauce for students and people to get ahead. I mean, even at my age, I have a mentor, like, having someone to bounce ideas off of or how to think about it. There's the quote, "A problem well-defined is a problem half solved." And I think that's only going to become greater the more technology we have. So I think mentorship will become more essential than it has been in the past. And I think those who have mentors who coach them how to drive a hypothesis kind of driven model in any industry, an inquiry based model with curiosity are gonna rise to the top because they're going to be able to use the tools. So I actually think mentorship is a really good companion to curriculum, because you don't have to have all the skills of AI. You have to have the experience that we have and the knowledge of growth of how to pause, how to think about a situation, how to ask for feedback, how to interpret it. And I don't know that those come as much in the curriculum because they're trying to put all the skills needed for an accreditation or so forth. Does that make sense?
It does. You've got all the answers. Well done. Okay. Just a couple more questions for you for today, though. How is this trend of outsourcing, freelancing, farming out entry-level work impacting students and career changes?
Yeah, well, what's really interesting is the trend had already started. So, Upwork as a lead gig economy freelance place had already, it's over $100 million in revenue and projects the freelance outsourcing market space to go to over 500 billion. So this isn't a trend that's just coming. It's been happening more and more. And you see it farmed out in freelancing, in internships, even in apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are interesting because they're, to me, and internships a little bit, the most straightforward path to full-time employment in any given place. But I think that recognizing that the trend is here and has been here for a while, that what AI does, in our opinion, is accelerates that trend for a knowledge worker, particularly around research, writing, communication, and these basic skills that really can be the difference of somebody staying in a particular role and or having an opportunity to grow in a role. So really it's acceleration. And I think the other piece of this for people, myself included, is to get comfortable with the multiple types of work that we do. 20, 30 years ago, you did one job and that was it. Now people have 2, 3, or 4 things. The idea of fractional work, the idea of consulting, the idea of having, 2 semi-full-time jobs at the same time. These are regular occurrences. And from an HR standpoint, often freelancing, because it saves the need to have a full headcount, is a way for them to have efficiencies in their business. So that trend is just accelerating. And I think the other piece that's accelerating it is, had to do with COVID and the fact that remote and hybrid work are now the norm. And even if people return to work, you see hybrid a lot more than you see fully on site. And that means people have to have a degree of self-management and self-efficacy in the work they do. And that can pertain to students who are transitioning to the workforce, but also people in their careers, changing career paths or changing jobs, right? It is a different world when you're working from home and you can't just go by someone's office and speak to them, or you can't just meet up with someone randomly in the office, have a conversation and move forward. You have to be a little more intentional. So I think it's accelerating the trend, but it's also starting to define some criteria of greater substance. Right now, if you go to freelance, for the most part, in our opinion, you're at the mercy of a consultant who will scope your work, budget it, and so forth. And that's a tough place to be. That's a risky place to be for somebody who's doing that. And so the more that a hiring manager and HR can own their part respectively in this trend of outsourcing and freelancing, the safer it will be to do what freelancing is for, right? Which is, often to augment what's there, but add value to the process or eliminate redundancies, right? So I think that's where we see the trend going, and it's not going to go away. It's just going to evolve.
Okay, and just finally for today, Jodi, I know that it's crazy this interview's already over. Bill, don't go. I'm having such a nice time. I know, I'm so sorry. Before we do wrap up, how can our listeners learn more about Work Simplr? And of course, how can they connect with you? Is that email address? Is that LinkedIn? Are you super cool? Are you all over TikTok, Jodi? Tell us more.
I am not a TikTok yet, but I'm getting there. LinkedIn is the best way to contact me. And I'm always open to any kind of chat to share my knowledge and research. and pay it forward to students, to companies, to leaders, to communities. That's part of, when you pass 50, that's part of, I think, what started to happen for me is I wanted to give back. So LinkedIn, I'm at LinkedIn at Jodi Mac. And then Work Simplr, if you go to the website, Work Simplr, WorkSimpler.com, you can also request time to chat with us. And what we're trying to do too is not just do the work, but actually coach both entry points, both businesses and HR and students on the process and bring visibility to it. That's part of our mission. And our North Star is about, economic mobility and business efficiency. So yeah, I would love to chat with anyone who's interested.
And of course, listeners, as always, there will be links in the show notes. Jodi, before we wrap up here, I just want to say that you've been there, you've done it. And I love the fact that now you're at a point in your life that you just want to give back. I think that's awesome. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. What a great show. And I love the disruption in HR and happy to be a part of making the future a lot brighter. So,
well, we'll have to get you back on again soon, Jodi. But for now, that just leaves me to say thank you very much for being my guest.
Appreciate it.
And listeners, as always, until next time, happy working.
Thanks for listening to the HR Chat Show. If you enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe and listen to some of the hundreds of episodes published by HR Gazette? And remember, for what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.